Last night you said that coming out of halftime that you guys kind of relaxed, and talking to the players, they said that they felt like this team kind of took a breath and then obviously let Oregon State back in. What allowed that sense of comfortability heading into the second half where Oregon State was allowed to come within 3 twice?
I don't understand. Say that again.
Last night you said that this team kind of took a breath during halftime, kind of relaxed, took the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and heading into the second half, Oregon State was allowed, did come into 3. So I'm asking, what allowed that sense of comfortability to kind of settle over this team to where Oregon State was able to play catch up?
Yeah, unfortunately, we fell into the trap of being normal, and we don't want to be normal in any way, shape, or form. I think we, again, kind of listened to some things last week that we shouldn't listen to, and then when maybe that kind of came to fruition there in the first half, there was a letdown. And that's not to take anything away from Oregon State. They competed longer, for longer there in the second half, but we won the game. And this time, the next 2 weeks, we'll have a great time. We'll get a bunch of guys back that were either very limited or not playing last night, to get healthy of mind, to get healthy of body, and get going again.
Tyson and Rodney talked a little bit about how their emotions were mixed after the game of beating the Beavers, but then the way that it happened. And Tyson said that this might be ammunition for this group going into this 4-week period or 3-week period, wherever you play your next game. Do you feel like this could be a motivator for this team?
Absolutely. I think you have to take anything, obviously as you move forward and use it as fuel, as we've talked about many times. And we've talked a lot about playing a complete game, and we haven't done that yet. So, those guys in particular, coming up the tunnel, they had the emotions. I talked to both those guys in the tunnel, and they're walking up and with mixed emotions, which is good and bad. These guys have so much pressure on them, so much stuff going on in their lives right now. But it's also good that they're kind of unfulfilled, and so absolutely, I think they'll stoke that with the emotion of another chance to compete again, another chance to prepare to compete, and with that carrot out there of still chasing a complete game.
Getting a chance to watch the tape, seeing Braylon's performance, was there something special about just something in the air yesterday that allowed him to have such a great game?
Well, we had the second one. Can't remember the order. The one that he was kind of all by himself, that was kind of a play that we had set up from something last week and earlier on in the game, and had kind of the ideal call on for that defense. And then the other one is something, again, is weird how that route concept has broken that. That guy's not really supposed to be in the progression, how it happens, but that's kind of the third touchdown we've had on it. Not by accident, but just kind of the way it was covered or not, with the route. I know that doesn't make any sense at all, but a great throw and catch on both.
Andrew, you have a question?
Yeah, hi Mark. This defense had looked pretty good the last 2 or 3 weeks. Looked like there were some signs of a lot of improvement, and then after that first drive by OSU, I think they held them to only 21 yards the rest of the half. So how do you square that kind of defense with what happened in the second half? What's the explanation for that?
Well, I think there's some things are very simple and some things are very frustrating. Again, just from an emotional standpoint, we have to keep our edge for every snap that we're in there, and that's on me. That's on every coach, every player, on down of keeping that edge, and finishing the game. And then there's certainly some schematic things that we need to fit better. Part of that, that's coach oriented. Part of that's player oriented, and we'll solve that together.
How long had Tyler Johnstone been lobbying for that play?
Since he was recruited in high school, I think. Every offensive lineman always thinks they're a quarterback or a receiver, and they checked out of their defense right at the end, and squashed his dreams, which we'll just blame that on Tyler. It's not his fault in any way, shape, or form, but we'll blame him.
You had kind of talked about. You had kind of talked about it in your interviews this week and talking with Anderson on the radio with Canzano, but just finally getting to play, Anderson's team in the Civil War. Can you sense that, over the next couple of years, this game is really going to be something special?
Well, I like the first half a lot better than the second half, but I like the result. I've always known Coach Anderson from either from afar or from playing against him. Have a ton of respect for, kind of who he is and what he does. Same with Kalani Sitake. Same with a bunch of guys on their staff. And so, it's not something we sit around and look forward to playing somebody or not look forward to playing somebody. But no, I have a ton of respect for him.
Mark, I was just curious if you've ever talked to Scott Frost about kind of his long-term goals, if he wants to be a head coach, and what opportunities might be right for that down the road or anything like that.
I have talked to him about those things. I think that those conversations are, very private and personal, and if he wants to speak to them publicly, I think that's for him to say. Coach Greatwood, new head coach of the. I was going to make a joke there. If he wants to be, yeah, I think that so much of again, so much of that is situation oriented, individually oriented on both where it is and what it is, and there's a lot of things that being an assistant coach is that are great, I think it just totally depends on the situation.
What's your schedule for the next few weeks? Obviously, you guys don't know which bowl or what date that will be, but with finals, hitting the recruiting trail, can you kind of just take us through what the schedule will be?
Yep. Most every coach will be out tomorrow. We'll have our banquet here in 8 minutes. Doors open. Have our banquet this kind of over the noon hour, 11 to 1-ish. If Dave doesn't talk very long. And then we've got recruiting weekend going on, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll hit the road tomorrow, essentially for 2 weeks, give or take. And then our guys will be preparing for Dead Week, Finals Week, all those things. Hoping to finish strong there as well. And get healthy. That's going to be the biggest thing of physically. We'll do kind of some limited things in the weight room and with Rad. And then our first kind of true game preparations will be in 2 weeks.
I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I think as a head coach, you're only allowed to maybe see a guy once. Mm-hmm. What's the strategy of choosing when you go and see a player for that one time? Yeah, it's individually based. That I can only go see him once, and so sometimes it's a guy that's whatever perceived to be more. What's the right way to phrase this? Impressionable, and you want to be the last person in there, or hey, to get in the fight, you have to be the first guy. So that sometimes it's just logistics of going to see people that you can see them on their schedule, your schedule, and that's what works. And so it's again 100% per guy, unique. When you first were hired, I think you and almost the entire staff went together. Do you like doing that, or was that just kind of a one deal thing with Chip leaving and trying to go to see all the guys that committed?
I do like doing that. Obviously, there's some efficiency problems when you're trying to see as many guys as we're seeing, but I think that's one of our biggest strengths is our chemistry, our people and our chemistry, and that filters down to the team and to the players, and they see that. And so I think the more times that we can do multiple guys, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, is very beneficial. Yeah.
Andrew, do you have any questions?
Yeah, for the senior day festivities yesterday, Byron took part in it. Farrow did not. Should we take that as an indication about whether or not each guy will stay or go?
I think at this point, you could draw conclusions. I wouldn't etch anything in granite. But I think those are fair assumptions
I guess
at this point.
Okay. Back toward the field, a couple weeks ago, Scott Frost, for a couple weeks, he said that he really wants to get Jaylen Brown and Kirk Merritt involved. They got their shots yesterday. What do you think about them, and why put those guys in those moments?
Well, they earned it, number one, and it was unfortunate for Kirk that the one got called back. Jalen's done some great stuff on special teams that's kind of gone, unheralded and works his tail off. Just hasn't caught a lot of balls, which is, obviously something that those guys like, and people notice that kind of stuff a lot easier. Dwayne was very limited as the game went on, and so it was a time to inject them in there and get them a little bit more playing time. Have a ton of confidence in those guys going forward. Very excited for their future.
Mark, I noticed when you were talking to Jorgie last night, I think you said, "Word is we won." Is this program just at a level where it's a relief to win, or do you take any joy in it at any point?
There was a very prominent Hall of Fame coach that told me as soon as it's a relief to win, quit. And that's I see what he meant by that. But it's just you're talking about Tyson and Rodney and their reaction. I think there's just that a little bit of a level of whatever it is. And I don't want to use the word disappointment, but not putting your best foot forward every single second of every single day. Number one, that's hard, but that's why we do what we do, because that's the fun of it too. It's really hard. It is really hard and really difficult to do what these guys have done for as long as they've done it. I don't know how many teams now, with a couple teams dropping off this list, have won 9 or 10 games for as long as that they have around here. And so, when it becomes relief, I think that's unfortunate, and I know that's the expectation. But I think when expectation and hope are used interchangeably, I think that's weird.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.